What's going on, everybody? It's your homeboy Cable Line Network here, chilling out, maxing out, doing my thing. All right, y'all. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about season 2 final of The Flash, episode 23. Now, in this episode, we're going to be discussing how, for one, the episode is so much to discuss in this episode. Let's start from the beginning. Now, we left off with Barry just witnessing his father's death. Zoom sticking his hand right through Henry Allen's chest, and he's dropping to the ground. Barry runs up, tries to talk to his father, has a big emotional scene. Hunter Zolomon, being as sadistic as this guy is, decides to really egg Barry on, like, come on, Barry, you feel the evil that, this produced. You're just like me. Barry looks at him and says, no, I'm not. And then he basically starts attacking Zoom. Now, Zoom and Barry had a big scuffle in this episode. Like, they were fighting 3 or 4 times throughout the whole episode. It was insane. Now, the first fight was initially after Harry Allen's death. Now, these guys were running all through the city. The choreography in this was insane. These dudes were running up walls, jumping on people's air vents, kicking each other in the walls. This shit was just crazy. Oh my god, it gives me nergasm just talking about it. Now, while Zoom was actually running, you did see a time variant of Zoom. Now, this one was a bit different. With berries, you can see, kind of a haze of them, and then they'll disappear. With this one, you saw the Time Revenant come up next to Zoom, and then he went the opposite way, and then Zoom was still getting chased by the Flash. Now, that's when the whole choreography, these guys running up people's walls. Okay, now, when Flash went back in time to fight himself, the choreography with that was kind of eh. With this one, it was insane. It was fast paced, action packed. I was totally driven the entire time. Loved it. Now, Barry managed to beat Zoom. Now, Zoom's Revenant came up and stabbed him in the chest to kill him. And then Zoom told Barry that you can do the same thing. You just have to be ready to kill yourself. And then I was like, holy hell, dude. Yeah. So Zoom showed Barry how to make time revenants. Apparently, species can make time revenants. They can die, but the regular speedster, nothing will happen to him. Like, it was insane. I'm like, Zoom, you like killing yourself a lot, dude. Holy hell. Like, Barry was already going to win, but the Revenant of Zoom, or maybe it wasn't the Revenant, maybe it was the actual Zoom. I don't really know. But I'll just say a Zoom came up and killed him. All right. Now, apparently it was revealed that all he had to do is go back in moments in time, so I guess it's really the same thing. But anyway, now you basically see him completely take off. Barry just stands there and just, not continue to fight. They go back. Barry, his father, and such, they had a little big funeral scene. Barry was going through like the worst of it. You can really see that Barry couldn't handle this entire thing. Barry tried to have a quiet moment, and let me say this right now: that dude cannot walk away and have privacy. Like, as soon as this dude walked away somewhere, Iris immediately like walked right behind him. They pushed that these two were gonna get together like fucking crazy during this episode. Like, seriously, every time the man walked out the door, she walked behind him. I'd have been like, "Excuse me, can you go on somewhere? I want something called privacy, bitch. You may not have heard of it before, but I will gladly educate you." I'd have told her just like that. But anyway, now Iris and Barry is, talking on the porch, blah de blah, kissy kissy, talking, I love you. I mean, they didn't kiss yet, but they were talking, talking. Zoom runs by. Barry chases after Zoom. Zoom says to Barry he wants to race. Now, that's when Team Flash really started to see the worst in Barry, because Barry was just all, okay, I'll race him. I don't give a fuck about anything else. Screw off, blah, blah, blah. Joe tried to talk him out of it. He told Joe, I don't care what you say, I'm going to still do it. Dude, guess what happened? You know how Joe always threatens to shoot Barry? Well, he didn't actually shoot him. Harrison did. Shot him with a tranq dart and knocked him out. Now, he wakes up in a cell. You know he's pissed off, right? Like, this dude is heated beyond all recognition. So he looks at everybody. He's like, "Yo, what the hell are you doing?" And the entire team was with it. That, look, dude, we're gonna, take Zoom out. This is what they wanted to do. They wanted to basically push Zoom back over into the Earth 2 breach and keep him there. That was their whole plan, right? So they decided to lock Barry up so he wouldn't race at all. Now, keep in mind, Wally found out about this dude's, powers last episode. Let me just say that right now. And he also did have a little scene. He was like, "Dude, thank you for everything you've done for me too." Like, it was like in the beginning and such. Wally and Barry had a little scene there. But anyway, now the whole plan was to shoot him with, you remember that collar or bolt thing that Zoom got shot with when Barry brought him back from, well, not brought him back, but opened up Earth 2 breach. He came back. He shot him with some type of boot. I think it was called a boot. Shot him with that on his neck this time. Now, their plan was for Joe to shoot him with a train dart, but the train, gun got jammed. Now, in order to lure him out, they basically had Caitlyn walk up and talk to him the entire time. But this was a hologram. It was actually a good thing too, because Zoom told her, "Yo, if you betray me, I'm gonna kill you." And it really looked like he was gonna care. He was gonna say, "I knew you'd come around, Caitlyn." Well, he did say that. We actually thought that he had a soft side for her and everything. He ends up stabbing her in the fucking stomach. I'm like, Jesus, dude. But here's the thing, though, it was a hologram, so that's when he got hit with the boot on the neck. They set up a trap for him because Cisco managed to track him to this abandoned warehouse where Zoom is in possession of Mercury Labs Magneton. Now, this thing apparently can destroy other Earths. Yeah, this thing actually has the power to destroy other Earths. This thing is insane. Remember, Cisco had that vision of Earth, two splitting in two. That's because Zoom used that weapon. Now, in order for Zoom to use that weapon, he needs energy, friction. That's why he wanted to race the Flash so he could actually start that up. Now, this is what his plan was. He wanted to blow up every other Earth except Earth 1. He wanted just to keep that Earth. That was it. But every other Earth he was going to blow up. Basically, with the amount of friction that machine could make, he weaponized it. It shoots like a beam in the air, which opens a tear in all the dimensions and just starts blowing up Earth. Well, it doesn't really blow them up, it kind of splits them at the poles, which, kills everybody on the planet. Now, Zoom basically wanted to race Barry to do that, and they knew it, but Barry wanted to go anywhere and race him. That's why everybody was like, hold on, Barry, you were going too far. This is not a good idea, but he didn't want to listen to nobody. That's when Joe and Professor Wells shot him in the back with a tranquilizer. He wakes up. He feels kind of betrayed because the entire team agreed that we need to take this dude down before he fucks something up. Now, that's when they actually decide to all go and try to stop Zoom on their own. Trank Dart gets freaking jammed in the gun, so Joe had to run up and actually physically stab this dude with the train darts. Now, for some reason, after he stabbed him, he just turned around like it was all kosher and everything. He should have just immediately jumped back. But as Zoom's going through the breach, because Cisco can now open the breaches at will, now it's no problem. As soon as he opened it, Zoom grabbed Joe and pulled him in. So now everybody was set on, okay, even though he pulled Joe in, we're not going to open the breach. Now, of course, Wally wasn't cool with that. Wally opens the cell for Barry because Wally found out. He came down. Iris told Wally about everything. Actually, it was perfect for Wally to find out about Barry's powers in the previous episode. Otherwise, it would have been very awkward to explain to Wally what the fuck really was happening with Joe. But anyway, now, like I said, they all agreed to keep the breaches closed. Wally lets Barry out. Barry comes up. Now Barry's pissed, and then everybody's having a big argument like, okay, we need to keep Joe over there because Zoom's over there. We don't want to bring this dude back because as soon as he turns on this magnet weapon, it's gonna blow up all the Earth. So it was pretty much common sense just to sacrifice Joe. Now Barry managed to use Cisco's ability to conjure himself up on Earth 2 to talk to Zoom and say, "I will race you." Now that's when Zoom and Joe had a little conversation about the man in the Iron Mask. Yes, actually, Joe was talking to Zoom while he was holding him captive. Yeah, he just had a normal conversation. Joe asked, "Who is this guy?" And then Zoom revealed that he went on another Earth before. Yeah, he went on another Earth, Earth 3. He actually went on that Earth to find more speedsters. And guess who he found? Dun dun dun! Jay Garrick. Yeah, that's Hunter Zolman's real name. Jay Garrick, he got that from the Earth 2 Jay Garrick, which is the guy in Iron Mask. Yeah, didn't even see it coming. That's Jay Garrick. So Jay Garrick was kidnapped by Zoom. He could not steal Jay Garrick's speed. Now, I don't know why he couldn't steal his speed, but he could steal Barry's. I'm not entirely sure. But he couldn't steal his speed. So he instead captured him and put dampeners in the helmet so he couldn't use his abilities. Now, basically, yeah, he's revealing all this and everything. It's crazy. He's like, I stole his name. I went to another Earth. I really want to see what Earth 3 looks like. That shit's going to be awesome. But anyway, now that right there is the Infinite Earth saga. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go read some DC comics, please. Anyway, now Zoom and Barry meet together to run on this gigantic effing, I'll say, it looks like a giant treadmill, to be honest. Literally, it's like a big circle. That's the magneton. Now, all I had to do was run around it. Zoom told Barry that, listen, if you want to stop me, all you have to do is catch me because each lap causes so much power. 500 laps is how much I need. If you catch me before these 500 laps, then hey, then you win. But if I win, then the worlds will get destroyed. So, hey, it was a pretty good deal. Barry goes and runs after Zoom. Now, let me just say this. Where the fuck was that tachyon enhancer? Didn't Barry decide to put that on period point blank the end? I understand after the death of his father he wasn't thinking, but the tachyon enhancer would have made him fast enough. If you think Barry got his speed back and now he can keep up with Zoom. With that tachyon enhancer, he would have been even faster. So his father wouldn't have died. Basically, a lot of stuff. Well, actually, no. Him being faster wouldn't really do anything. He still whooped ass. But anyway, now you've seen that Barry could not catch Zoom. You saw it. Like, they were running like crazy throughout the whole thing. You saw that Barry could not catch Zoom. You're like, holy shit. Now Barry figured out how to make a time revenant too. Now, basically, then the time revenant is running on a treadmill, right? So while the revenant is running on the treadmill, Zoom and the actual Barry are fighting. Well, they are both actually Barry. Anyway, Zoom and Barry are fighting. Like, these guys are going at it. Like, I really loved the whole fight scene they had with Flash and Zoom. That was just so epic. That was like on cartoon level type epic. It was epic. Anyway, now the Revenant actually said that he was going to sacrifice. Well, he didn't say it, but the Revenant sacrificed himself. Basically, it was in the comments where um it was a machine. The Magneton was going to blow up multiple Earths or blow up something, and Flash ran around it and sacrificed himself. He disintegrated, and that's what the Time Revenant did. Now, Barry finally managed to beat Zoom after a climactic fight, and guess what? Did he kill him? Nope. The Time Revenants came for him. He mentioned that to Joe that the Time Revenants were after him for going around fucking shit up like that. He even said that the Time Revenants wanted to kill him. Now, as Flash beats him, the Time Revenants come and grab Jay. Yep. And guess what? They turn him into the real Zoom, the one with the decaying face, the real one. They turn him into that. He looked just like it. I'm like, holy shit. And guess what that leads to? Flashpoint. Yeah. Now, at the end, Barry and Iris kiss and everything, and they had a little moment like they usually do. Barry decides to run back in time and actually completely fucks up like everything. He ran back in time. I'm not sure if that was his goal or not, but he ran back in time and stopped his mother from dying, which is a signal for Flashpoint. So season 2 is going to be the darkest Flash story fucking ever. It's going to be awesome, guys. I'll keep you updated with everything happening right here on Cable Line Network. Make sure to stay subscribed. Peace out, y'all, and talk to you later.